I'm realizing that within my life now, because even though I'm still somewhat passionate about making videos, I feel like there's a whole new level. And when for example, I had a buddy come here to Austin to do a live event recently, and he asked me to come speak at it. And I was like at the gym, and I'm like, okay, I'll just go because I don't have anything else to do, and it'd be fun. It sounds like fun. It sounds like I'd be passionate about just showing up to his live event. So I just show up to his live event, and I had the intention of only going on stage with him for like 40 minutes to an hour because I had some stuff to do afterwards. And I was like, 40 minutes to an hour is good. I get there and I end up being on stage for 3 hours. We brought people up, we coached people. It was phenomenal. The energy was insane.
Oh my God.
It was being recorded, and I'm like, now that's content I could be putting on YouTube. And that was a sign to me though that, okay, I tried this different thing, different than just sitting in front of a video, making content. I did something new. I pushed my comfort zone, even though it's not out of my comfort zone, but I could just tell I get lit up when I'm in front of a crowd. When I'm live, it challenges me because you have to be able to read a room. You got to be able to, it's a whole different beast. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's so cool. So I'm thinking it kind of reminds me of even Abraham Hicks style stuff.
Yeah.
Or even Teal Swan. I mean, they're people that do live healings or live work essentially with people. So I'm curious what it is that you feel like you want to bring to the stage. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do feel like part of the purpose, I mean, you even say it in the intro, I help raise people's consciousness. So expand people's consciousness. So what is it that you want to deliver to people from a stage that is new? What's in that package that inspires you?
Yeah, that's a good question, because that's exactly what these last because I've taken a couple, even just a week off of YouTube, but I've been making less content in general. That's giving me space to really go inwards, to decide what is it that I'm really passionate about sharing and helping people with. And the kind of the underlying theme is kind of what you're saying. It's helping people elevate their level of consciousness, raise their vibration is kind of a new age, kind of an interesting term, but in general, it's helping people elevate their level of awareness. Because I believe that awareness is the key to 90% of transformation is awareness, I believe. So the more aware you become of the patterns in your life, the more aware you become of the belief systems that you have, the more aware you become of the attachments, of the labels, the identity, the more aware you become of all these things, the more power you take back to then put in life. And at a live event, what I like to do is help people become more aware of these different aspects of themselves that have been in the subconscious. So that normally happens through either coaching people live on stage, doing group energy work. Another thing I'm really passionate about that I've done on YouTube and in different ways is I do these group meditations where we activate our heart energies and we use the power of group intention to transform our own lives and the planet. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Maharishi effect. It's similar to some of the work Joe Dispenza's doing, Dr. Joe Dispenza, but the Maharishi effect is this experiment that was done a long time ago, and they replicate it every so often, where you get 5,000 meditators around the world, and they focus on emoting an energy and setting that intention towards some specific thing. So it could be more love and peace, or whatever the energy is. And they've proven many times that when you get lots of people focused on one outcome, it affects the planet in a way to where it can decrease violent crimes on the planet by up to 70% for a certain period of time. And I'm not sure if you've ever, also the Schumann resonance, which is the frequency of the planet. And when we do these, I remember one time, I think it was May 5th, in 2020, I did this on YouTube with 12,000 people that were live at the same moment. And there were people around the world doing this too. So it wasn't just me. But we did that meditation where we connected into our hearts and, connected to the group energy, which can become very powerful. And then what we did is we sent we tapped in bringing in love and energy into our bodies. And as we did that, there was some people had some very transformative experiences, and I could feel it too, because I was the center point of all those people live, and I could feel that energy. But also the next day, the Schumann resonance, which is It's like a way of gauging the frequency of the planet. It was all white. Like it normally comes in fluxes. It was all white. Wow. And it was like, that's what happens when people get together and they meditate using the power of group energy with a specific intention. It can powerfully change the planet. And I think what's happened in society is, not to get too, I don't know how woo-woo this is, but I believe that there are...
Go ahead. I mean, I've had like Elizabeth April on and Teal and people like that. So like you can say whatever the hell you want.
Well, then I'll stretch it a little bit. I believe there are people, like, I'm not a big conspiracy theory person where I'm like in fear and all this shit going on, but in general, I believe that it's a known thing at certain levels that there's this collective consciousness that we're all connected to. Mm-hmm. And I believe that there are people that maybe understand that if you keep people in fear and in anger and in lower vibrational emotions, that their energy is scattered. Right. And that then it's like they're much easier to control. And I think what's happening on the planet right now is people are waking up. They're waking up to their own power. They're waking up to the ability for all of us to connect together to create transformation on the planet. And I think that when we come together with group intention like that, it does the opposite of what certain people may be doing to like keep the collective consciousness at a certain level. I mean, when you look at the media and the fear that's being projected out into the world, we're so numb to it and so used to it. But like, if you really sit down and think about like just how much negativity is being strung out in the media and stuff, and how there's a narrative and a way of thinking that really keeps people small and keeps people very subservient to like everything in reality. It's silly to me. It's like, wow, it's like people are so bought into that. And part of the work that I try to do, my intention at least, is to help people wake up to them being like understanding or maybe tapping into their spiritual component, that maybe you're an eternal spiritual being living a temporary human experience. And maybe when you come here, you go through crazy shit in life, and especially early on in childhood, because I believe that helps us to like create pressure so that we can go through a spiritual transformation or through a spiritual awakening. And part of why I believe we came here deep down, even if we don't remember, I think is we came here to elevate our level of consciousness, to grow, and to also come together. I know it sounds super fucking hippie, but like to come together so that we can really like change the planet, because I think that the timeline that we may have been on in the past is a timeline of like destruction. If you want to talk about weirdness, have you ever heard of Dolores Cannon?
Oh, I love Dolores.
Oh, okay.
Love Dolores. Oh,
okay. Well, that's good.
Listen to hours and hours and hours and hours of Dolores. She's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah. That one thing that really got me into this kind of content was reading her books. It was like the Convoluted Universe books.
I just love like listen to some 80-year-old woman talk about the stuff she talks about so matter-of-factly, like with a grandma voice. It's so awesome. But I feel like I've heard just about everything that's out there on YouTube for her. That's how much cool. I've listened to her. So I probably should tap into those books.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is something interesting about her, just because she does kind of she has a grandma feel, but she's talking about these very esoteric things. And she says it, she's had thousands and thousands of people in deep levels of hypnosis. And it's not her saying it. It's not like, I believe that, we're like ETs are real and I believe this or that. It's like this is what's consistently come through thousands of people all over the world who don't know each other. They're not like in a database, like let's say this on this hypnosis, this deep level of our subconscious mind. Let's have this come through.
Yeah. Have you ever looked into, because one of the things that she did was she started teaching people how to go into this deep, deep state of hypnosis that really nobody else was doing, or at least according to at that point in time, to be able to go really deep into the subconscious. Have you ever looked to see if there's like a practitioner nearby or someone that does her techniques?
Oh yeah. I have a buddy of mine that's like, he doesn't do sessions or anything, but he is certified like QHHT. It's called quantum healing hypnosis technique. It's a technique that even though she passed away, she has an organization that trains people on how to help people become like, certified in that, to bring people through past life regression or future life regression or higher self, whatever they call it,
Whatever anyone wants to call it. It's all, I feel like it's all kind of the same. It's just what name you give it.
Exactly. Yeah. They're tapping into the subconscious mind and there's information coming through. One of the interesting things I wanted to share though about that is what they say through some of the books, the Convoluted Universe books, is, which are just like, they're literally just transcripts of her hypnosis sessions, was that what happened energetically back in the 1930s is there were, when the nuclear bombs were going off and stuff, what happened is we were on a timeline then of where the earth could possibly destroy itself because we were experimenting with nuclear bombs. And when the nuclear bomb went off and they were testing with it, the thing is what she says and what people in her hypnosis session say is that the way earth works is we have free will here as a collective to like decide what we experience. And what happened is when we were experimenting with these nuclear bombs, it was going off and it was rippling out into the universe and it was beginning to affect other reality systems. The rule is we are allowed to affect our reality system, but when we begin affecting other reality systems, that's a no-no. So what happened is energetically, there was like almost a call put out to where we needed souls to come to earth to incarnate, because the rule with our reality is this free will thing. It's not like ETs can just land and give us technology and we're all fixed. Like it has to come from within the game itself. And part of the game of this reality is you come to earth, you forget who you are. There's a veil of forgetfulness here. You then go through a process of remembering who you are, or you don't, but there's an option to like remember your spiritual nature and who you are. And then you wake up and you go through different levels of transformation.